Good afternoon. If you're up and about, have had trouble with In-Play Guru earlier on not showing the British. That's why I had two streams up, two In-Play feeds up. Sorry. Good start to the day with Hanover. Let's see if we can continue picking quality over quantity. It's very difficult on a Saturday. So let's just make sure you're all okay here and you can see and hear me. Best to stay indoors today. I hope you're all safe and well. And I'm just going to confirm whether I'm talking to myself or not. Nearly there. So it's the curse of the Champions League as ever. We've already seen a couple fall foul. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you. I hope Telegram's all sorted out for you, Stephen. If it's not, please get in touch. Hi, Colin. And hi, Trevor. Nice to see you. Blustery, blustery day. It was a very good session yesterday. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Making money. It's always very nice. Watch out for an Elche equaliser. It looks like it's coming, doesn't it? Elche v Cadiz. Red card for Cadiz. Elche pre-match 1.6 favourites. You're either going to trust them or you're not. You can't really take insurance out at this stage. Hanover, excellent stuff. So you're going to have to either say yes or no. I've just got to tell this person I'm working, otherwise he'll keep messaging me. Sorry, working now. Okay. Right. They seem to forget in Thailand that it's a 7-hour time difference. Okay. Elche and Cadiz. So there we go. Probably missed the goal now. It's very difficult to take insurance out here on the 0-1. I always try to cover my bases. The only other way to create any value here is to just simply delay. Good stuff, Stephen. Thank you for the confirmation there. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe it was an issue at your end. I can see now why people don't turn up to these live streams. It's a Saturday afternoon and you'll have probably worked Monday to Friday. You know, I'm in Thai time, so it's a lot different. But I can understand why I don't get many attendees, even though it's can be a very profitable endeavour. Middle of the afternoon, particularly around Christmas. So I'm going to have to get on through. Hopefully, get a few more people turning up. I might not have a live stream tomorrow. I might be at lunch at my brother's house. And as you know, got to really prioritise family, particularly when I don't see them that often. So I hope you'll understand that. You can see Elche lighting it up, 82 attacking pressure index. There is 15 minutes to go. So you're at that tricky point. Do we stick or do we twist? When did the red card come? I thought it came earlier than the 73rd minute. 55th minute, indeed. It's just popped up on Football 24. 82 attacking pressure index. Now, it's a big exposure, isn't it? Laying at evens, because it's a 50, it's a 1-1, isn't it? Whatever you win, you might lose. So how do we dig this one out? Elche 7.6 might give you a little bit of value. To cover the 0-1, both teams to score no, of course, but that's far too skinny. Even Stevens, laying over 1.5 goals, far too ridiculous, 1.78, unless you go match odds. But then you're going to have a hefty insurance premium. So it's highly likely to be a 1-1. But it's just a matter of us figuring out how to limit that exposure. We don't have to play, of course. We can always delay and play late. Bayer Leverkusen already scoring first. These Champions League sides are either hit and miss this weekend. Paris Saint-Germain failing to score yesterday. Friday, is normally a good starting point to determine whether we're going to get uh, a bunch of Sunday League pub sides or whether we're going to get true form. Aston Villa certainly priced to continue their 3-goal scoring haul at home, but is this pre-Champions League? That's my concern. We've got the weather as well involved. So it could be an interesting afternoon. But let's just take a look at Friday's Champions League sides. Lille and Brest both involved in the Champions League. No such conundrum for Lille. Paris Saint-Germain bossed this match, failed to score. Union Berlin led twice, or 0-2. Should have got involved there. By the time I did my investigation, it was 1-2 to Stuttgart. What a pity. Inter Milan, no problem at all. Atalanta and AC Milan, derby-style match. I did favour Atalanta. PSV coming from behind. So, really, I don't think there was any major panic unless you look at the likes of Trabzonspor in Turkey, who came from behind but let a late one slip. I think they're involved in European club competition. So that's something we have to think about today. No excuses for Trab. I thought they were involved in Europe because they were there or thereabouts, surely, weren't they, at the end of last season? So first look at the in-play stats. When are you going to, or are you going to bite and lay Cadiz? Not just yet for me. Las Palmas continuing on from that superb win against Barcelona. Don't think there's a trading angle there. FC Copenhagen doing what they do. It is the Danish Cup, but they're delivering. Maccabi Petach Tikva, there must be an odds-on favourite there somewhere. No, there isn't. It must be because it's the Israeli Premier League. Don't have a strong opinion here, I'm afraid. But while we're waiting for goals to come in, you could always see if any of these two sides have any late goal scoring potential. So I hope you're all okay there. Yeah, only 6 people watching. It's really a bit dispiriting, isn't it, for me? So I'm going to have to make some decisions in the new year. I don't like flogging my guts out like this when only a couple of people turn up. Bitcoin is flying. I've already taken a huge amount out. So hopefully we'll see new year. I don't want to continue like this, that's for sure. Doing all this work with no one turning up. But I'll carry on through because you've bothered to turn up. The least I can do is give you 100%. So Maccabi Petach Tikva, Israel. If you don't find it, you'll find it here. I bet everyone's in Waitrose or somewhere like that, stocking up on mince pies. Maccabi Petach Tikva and Shmona. So we're just looking to see whether there is any late goal action while we're waiting for goals to come in.
This market has been suspended.
Suspended market, that could be the Elche goal. We'll wait and see. So the best thing to do is to check this out initially. 3-0 at half-time at home, 2 at full-time. That's not a good indicator for taking that 0-0 on. 2-0 at half-time away, none at full-time. Well, the away side have not had a 0-0 this season, but I don't like that conversion rate. It's pretty poor. Do we have a challenge table, which will tell us where these two are in the league? Yes, we do. So mid-table against 11th. What do you see here with 11th? A couple of 0-0s, 3 failing to scores at home, and the away side not really scoring that second goal. So I think, even though there might be a late goal, I don't think it's worth pursuing what is one of the poorer leagues. And the mid-table sides, and look at the goal scoring. It's a pretty poor, isn't it? Although Maccabi Petach Tikva have conceded 5 goals in the last half hour of matches. I'll leave that one alone. I don't want to be tempted in. We've got better quality football today. Elche and Cadiz, as you know, we're just waiting to see when or if we're going to get involved. This is the kind of response you want. Red card, 2 goals. That's more like it. Lechia Gdansk, and no strong opinion there. 2.3 the favourite. The reason he's a shortlist is just because of the league. It's a well-known league. Genoa and Torino. Well, you know all about Torino, don't you? They're about as exciting as a Keir Starmer joke or a Keir Starmer speech. It's a snooze fest with Torino. Very untrustworthy. Look at this. Very defensively led, tending towards a whole pile of 0-0s or 1-0s, as I think we can confirm in a second here. 0-1, 1-1, 2-0, failing to score, failed to score, failed to score, 1, failed to score. Pretty poor stuff. Stark contrast with Genoa have scored 2 goals each in each of the last 2 matches. So you'd be favouring Genoa on their goal scoring ability, but you've got to respect Torino's defensive capabilities, but they are woeful up front. So give that one a wide berth at the moment. We want readability like Hanover early on. There's the Elche goal. It was going to come, but were you willing to put in the risk? Because it's quite a high liability. Couldn't cover it, so it's up to you. If you did play, congratulations. Sometimes you just have to take a risk and look at it logically as well. It's a 1.6 favourite at home, playing against 10 men with an increasing set of stats. So I hope 1 or 2 of you took the risk there and had a go and laid Cadiz. You would have got odds on. So reasonable amount of time left, I would suspect. So I hope you played. Just a logical sequence, wasn't it? Portuguese Secunda. Any reason why I'm involved in that? Let's ignore that, the Secunda League, because we've got better quality football, which Leipzig turns up today. I think they've conceded 9 goals, haven't they, in the last 2 Bundesliga matches? And they are a side, quite obviously, like Manchester City, Aston Villa, Red Bull Salzburg, really hugely affected by the Champions League. The wheels have fallen off. 1-5 defeat to Wolfsburg, 4-3 defeat to the mighty Hoff, for goodness sake. You're scoring 3 and you still can't win. Great in the DBF Pokal, but I suspect Eintracht Frankfurt are focusing more on retaining a top 2 place and a chance in the Champions League next season. Let's get rid of that damn cup. It's a big distraction for a lot of sides around Europe. Hence, so many big names. Girona, Villarreal, not bothering. Can't be asked. Simple as that. This one could be a good one for a 1.09, 1.06 late lay. So let's just insert that, because we might just get concerted pressure from Elche from now on. Again, if you want to lay the draw now, it's up to you. But the profit maker would have been the 1-1 draw. 1.09 to win 23 quid. Cost you 2 quid. Bang that in. Probably we're going to get the goal before that. And to win 32, it's 2 quid. Bang. You can leave that match alone now. But keep an eye on the in-play stats. And if you can see 100 plus attack pressure index or something like that, and it's starting, isn't it? Then you might want to be looking at that draw ending. Okay. So Leipzig survived so far. They'll be absolutely delighted they haven't conceded 12 goals yet in the first 15 minutes. Bayern Munich, pre-Champions League, can be a little cold. Playing Heidenheim today, who can put in a good shift. That's not what 4 consecutive defeats, though, is telling us. So keep an eye on this one. I wouldn't be trusting the odds here. Pre-Champions League, just a watching brief. So we will see. Bochum and Werder Bremen. You'd be favouring Werder Bremen on form. I did do a look at this match in the research, the daily bulletin, the review preview. Sorry, I do look at some of these matches, and certainly Bochum have yet to win a match this season. That could suggest, a bit like Hanover earlier on, that we're going to take on the underdog leading. It's a very lukewarm favouritism for Werder Bremen, just a touch of odds on. St. Pauli likely to be routed today by Bayer Leverkusen already, starting with their goal before half-time. Eintracht Frankfurt, as you know, having an exceptional season at the moment. That loss in the DBF Pokal, leave that one alone. It doesn't matter. Well worthy of their odds-on status, likely to continue vying for a top 2 berth. We can get rid of Copenhagen. They've done the business. Barnsley and Birmingham. Well, Barnsley got us a result, didn't they? Or did they last time? I'm getting it mixed up with Burnley and Middlesbrough yesterday. Sorry. It's a top 8 clash. Birmingham are 3rd in the league, so they deserve our respect. And as ever, I've got my odds-ons here. Plenty of odds-on favourites today. Still enough football, which is excellent. So keep yourself safe and wrapped up, and hopefully we can dig out 1 or 2 profit makers. Got a nice winner yesterday in Maastricht. That was 2-1. 20th in the league. That's why I took them on. Elversborg, did a bit of research in the daily bullet, in the review preview. I think I called these very well. And of course, Hanover early on today. A nice start to the day. So we're delighted with that. So Eintracht Frankfurt, I expect of Eintracht Frankfurt today. Just get my odds-ons. Make sure I've got my odds-ons. Yeah, they're all here. English League 1, English League 2. Quite a few odds-on favourites. FA Trophies probably not going to be tradable. So let me ignore that one. Okay. So let's get back to the stats and work our way down. 3 o'clock's about to begin. Not interested in them just yet. Grenoble and Amiens taking advantage of a red card. There's the Petah Tikva, who I think haven't had a 0-0 this season. So we'll see whether these two can conjure up a goal. Certainly not a match to prioritise. Scottish Championship, its lack of liquidity means probably best hidden. Bayern Munich opening up against Heidenheim. That's coming after 19 minutes. First port of call there really for those shorties would be 20-minute mark. And with Hanover, if you see that kind of a thing in the future, do think over 2.5 goals as well, particularly in a strong both teams to score match. Neutral is far better, isn't it, than the heartache of going to a 0-2 and having to try and suss that one out. So we're all fleshing out now for the 3 p.m s. Let's just get rid of some peripheral stuff. Not going to be as busy as usual, I would suspect, particularly with the Storm. Las Palmas doing the job. Well done to them. 2 consecutive wins now, scoring 2+ goals. Aston Villa. This is the same odds as Southampton had against Brighton. And that was nearly a Southampton win. Aston Villa pre-Champions League. So these are the potential banana skins. Let's bring up Tuesday. 2-0 already for Bayer Leverkusen. Going great guns. No trading angle there, unless you went pre-match, of course. Dinamo Zagreb, I think, had a wobble on Friday. Indeed, they did against Slaven Koprivnica. Champions League. Celtic playing today, I think, or tomorrow. Girona, Liverpool not playing. So they're going to be advantaged in the Champions League upcoming. So think about that. Bear that in mind next week in the Champions League. They have a nice break there could be a huge advantage on Tuesday. It might actually shorten their odds even further. Girona, no mugs, but nowhere near as efficient as they were last season. Atalanta got the win yesterday. Real Madrid to play, I believe, away from home today. Bayer Leverkusen already leading 2-0. They've got. It looks as if these Champions League sides are performing to their form, which I know I'm a little premature, but when they did that last time, we really did clean up. But that said, Brest lost. PSV came from behind to win, getting mixed up with PSG, who failed to score yesterday. Sporting Lisbon lost to Moreirense, but I wouldn't be touching them with a barge pole. They don't have an established manager because he's gone off to Manchester United. Leipzig and Aston Villa, two sides hugely impacted negatively by the Champions League facing off. Shakhtar Donetsk and Bayern leading 1-0 against Heidenheim. I think they've got history, these two, haven't they? Heidenheim to get an equaliser in a previous Champions League Bayern Munich match. So intriguing stuff. I still think Vincent Kompany is a little green in handling, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Atletico Madrid were in the Copa del Rey, got us a very nice profit with 2 late goals to clinch a win. A very rare performance in the Copa del Rey that we could trust. Lille get the win on Friday. Benfica to come. I think Dortmund playing now, I believe, or a little bit later. Feyenoord playing later on today. Juventus playing later. Manchester City playing, I think, against Crystal Palace. A good chance for a win for Manchester City, with Crystal Palace struggling really badly to score that second goal at home. AC Milan, well, played yesterday against Atalanta. No real shock in defeat. It's a derby-style match. Atalanta were the form side coming into that one. I think, yeah, top 5. Stuttgart came from behind to get the win. They are reliable. And that should have been a big winner for us yesterday. I just didn't get there in time. The Ars.
This market has been suspended.
I don't know when the Ars are playing. It's going to be a bit later. I don't see them in the 3 o'clocks. Monaco, Côte d'Azur sides are favourites today, I believe. Nice and Monaco home favourites today. So do watch out for these, particularly Champions League. And there's that goal. Maccabi Petah Tikva and Ironi Kiryat Shmona. Those of you who took a risk, and please don't just wait for me to do stuff. Please use your own noggin. And if you like what I'm telling you, and you know all about laying at low odds, why not have a punt? No 0-0 this season for Kiryat Shmona, who carry on scoring. A couple of 0-0s for this lot. So up to you if you played or not. It's just that this is a way you can do it yourself. If you see a late 0-0, these are the 2 areas you need to look at first. The conversion rate, 3 0-0s to 2, really off-putting, isn't it? Elche get the win. Now, did they get it at 106, 109? No, they didn't. It was always a risk because they're playing against 10 men and they've got really good in-play stats. So, again, talking about
This market has been suspended.
you making your own decisions if you did lay the late draw, and this goal stands. Well done. This trading can be very simple, can't it? You're just looking at a way that the odds can move. Red card and a 1.61 shot at home. Add the 2 together and we're up and running. So I really hope you played there. Even if I don't, doesn't mean you do. Well, I did in my own way, but I've got a different methodology there to you. I was using a different strategy. I took insurance out there, which I wouldn't recommend, but it's got me about a 10-15% return. So I'm happy with that. I do like to cover the insurance. So Bundesliga, well, a bit too much bratwurst, I think, for lunch for this lot so far. Werder Bremen are starting to motor, and they are favoured today quite clearly against the Bochum, who are yet to win a match. They're highly likely to get a result when you start seeing 2.4 the favourite, or when the market's kind of hinting that they're not huge outsiders. So watch out for Bochum Werder Bremen. I strongly favour Werder Bremen today. I would quite confidently take on a Bochum lead, I think. We can get rid of Leverkusen, St. Pauli. St. Pauli do have a reputation for 2+ goals, but they are newly promoted and they are playing one of the big boys. So unlikely to really land a strong blow. Jablonec I would keep an eye on today. They are playing newly promoted Dukla Prague. All I want for Christmas is a Dukla Prague away kit, as Half Man Half Biscuit would say. Leipzig have scored against Holstein Kiel. I wouldn't trust them. Stolen money at the moment, conceding huge amount of goals. I don't know what's gone wrong. Really don't. Genk, another European club side. Not sure. Let's have a look. Can we get this up?
This market has been suspended.
No, we can't. Okay. That's likely the Elche match ending, I would suspect. Some tough matches in the Championship. 2.5 the favourite, 2.55 the favourite, 2.3 the favourite. Very difficult coupon today. Not many odds on favourites in the Championship and English League One and English League Two. I think we got a good few of them midweek, didn't we? Some of them performed. Some of them didn't follow up that second goal. Well, we will see. We've just got the one English Premier League game showing at present. I hope they haven't been. They don't look as if they've been postponed. Just the Mersey derby. So I think we'll be okay at the moment. So work our way down. Lots and lots of stuff we don't want. While there's no goals coming in, let me just clean up a bit of this. The problem is I've had this problem. It got rid of all the English leagues earlier on. When I tried to get rid of all of this stuff, it got rid of all the English leagues. Now they're back. I do want to just tidy this up. Northern Ireland, Portugal especially. Northern Ireland, Portugal and Spain. Let's just get rid of a few of those. Northern Ireland, Portugal and Spain. Right. I don't want any Northern Irish at all. Just a lack of liquidity. Spanish, Portuguese, Primera and Segunda, I think, for me. And in Spain, we'll just be looking Copa del Rey and looking at La Liga. And I don't know what's the difference between Primera Liga and La Liga. So I'll tick on both of those. And we're looking at Primera Liga 2 as well, Segunda. And that is about as far as I will go there. Hopefully that will clean up the in-play stats feed. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner now. Let's get rid of a few more. Morocco, Luxembourg, Namibia. Morocco, Luxembourg, and Namibia. Morocco, Luxembourg, Namibia. Okay. We don't need any of these at all. I think I've spelled Namibia wrong, so they might stay there. Let's get the elite leagues today. There's plenty of volume. And we'll get rid of a few of these. Olympiacos playing today, 1.17. Pre-European club competition Olympiacos. But as you can see, so far, Champions League sides, especially in Germany, they've all scored first. Let's just get rid of some of these Scottish leagues. Championship, well, just keep a cursory eye on the Championship, but it's the Premier League, really, which has the greatest liquidity. League One and League Two, I'm afraid, don't really pass muster. So we're just tidying things up. Leipzig look to have had their shredded wheat today, coming off the back of that 9-goal walloping in the last 2 Bundesliga matches. They look to be in good nick, Bayern in good nick as well. Watch out for Werder, as I say. And Eintracht Frankfurt should continue along their merry way today. Second in the league. Very rarely you'll see them there. Quiet day, probably had a lot of mince pies at half time or before the match, these German sides. That's why it's a little quiet. Genoa and Torino, I wouldn't be taking that 0-0 on. But the side who does have the goals is Genoa. Tend to score 2+ goals very regularly indeed. The 3 p.m.s are beginning. Great to see. Premier League matches, Aston Villa. Can they carry on from the 3-goal haul midweek? Manchester City, can they carry on from, I think, was it a 3-goal haul midweek? Brentford and Newcastle, can they carry on from a 3-goal haul midweek against Liverpool? Cambridge United have scored first against the Shrews. Let's just keep our eye on the goals as they come in. Any odds-on favourite match would be particularly of interest, but not so Cambridge and Shrewsbury. Lower tier, I'd like to focus more on the odds-ons, as you can see here. The market has given us something to think about. So let's confirm or otherwise while I have a nice chocky bar. We don't get those hobnobs, very difficult to find in Thailand. So you've got to get stuck in when you're in this neck of the woods. God bless hobnobs. That's all I have to say. Delicious. Whoever invented them, give them a knighthood. Lechia Gdansk and Slask Wroclaw. 2 sides in a spot of bother. Relegation 6-pointer. Don't have a strong opinion, but while it's uncharacteristically quiet, this stage of the season, get to know soccer stats and investigate. You just saw it pay out with the Israelis if you took an angle there. Slask Wroclaw, I think, and Lechia Gdansk is what we're looking at. It's a 1-0 lead. And Kortrijk have scored first against Racing Genk. Let me just pause, bring that match up because we have an odds-on favourite. As you've heard, that sound tells you there's been a goal in an odds-on favourites match. So let us investigate. Looks as if Crystal Palace are going to score first against Manchester City. Wow. Now, we know Crystal Palace don't score that second goal, do we? We also know Manchester City are dodgier than an Arthur Daly motor at the moment. Got that win at home, but it's away from home. The wheels are falling off. So we've got 2 matches of interest here, Genk and Manchester City. Let me just make sure I've got the Genk one listed. We don't want to ignore that. Maybe it's up here. Genk and Kortrijk, 1.42 favourites. Genk, top of the league. An early concession. Bit of breathing space because it's such an early goal for Crystal Palace that we're probably not going to get much value. But let's investigate. Are you with Manchester City or not? The problem with this Crystal Palace is it's that second goal, isn't it? It hasn't quite arrived yet at Football 24. So I hope we're not going to get some problems with that today. Not corrected just yet. Was it a goal from open play? Was it a penalty? Have a look at the Manchester United team as well. Are they necessarily going to be shuffling the pack? Erling Haaland is up front. Savinho, Silva, De Bruyne. That is a show of intent and it's a VAR at the moment. It's a show of intent putting Kevin De Bruyne on. He normally is on the bench, and he's normally used as a get out of jail card, basically. Nunez on the left, some new names for me. Luis, Nunez, Savinho, Ortega could be a big problem as well. It's not their usual goalkeeper. So it's some... there we go. There's my friend Rodri. Can I have him back, please? Can I have my mate Rodri back, please? I'm really missing him. Kovacic, Foden, Nathan Ake, and Akanji. Where is the goalkeeper? Ederson is on the bench. That's probably with the Champions League in mind. Doku with the Champions League in mind. Grealish, Champions League in mind. Simpson Pusi and Wilson Esbrand. Don't know them very well. Does that suggest there's some potential injury concerns at City? Or are they trying to blood the youngsters? Well, of course there's injury concerns. We've just looked through it. Rodri missing, Foden missing, Nathan Ake and Akanji. So it is a weak Manchester City. Ordinarily, I'd be jumping on this, boom, straight away. But this might give you a glimpse into Manchester City away from home. And it is not good viewing. If you're a Manchester City fan, you can get up from behind the sofa. 2-1 loss to Tottenham. EFL Cup, ignore that. 2-1 loss to Bournemouth. 4-1 loss to Sporting Lisbon. And no odds on, no. That was Huddersfield scoring. 2-1 loss to Brighton. Now, looking at this a little more in depth, did we get an equaliser at any stage? Or did we get a lead, for example, to give us a suggestion that we will get a goal from Manchester City? Not necessarily 2 consecutive goals, but we had 2 consecutive goals for Bournemouth, which was a concern. Wolves, did we get a 1-1? We did. Vardiol. And Tottenham, no, we ignore that. That's the cup. So 5 consecutive away defeats. They did put to bed those 7 consecutive matches without a win. In-play stats, I think, will be key. We know Crystal Palace cannot find that second goal. So are you with me or not? Let's have a look. Brentford have scored first against Newcastle United. Brentford have 100% both teams to score pattern at home. Newcastle, 3 goals against Liverpool midweek. Both teams to score. Looks a pretty decent play. If this is 1-0 at half time, this could be a good one for over 2.5 goals second half. We're expecting the both teams to score angle to come in. Manchester City, do we trust them? Well, the market's expecting goals. Over 1.5 goals at 1.05. You must take out insurance. You must at this level. Even if you don't do it ordinarily, it's costing you £2 to cover your premium. Manchester City +1. I don't know if it will be decent or not, given their woeful away form. Well, that is very, very good for a Manchester City side, isn't it? Covers the draw. That's an option for you, okay? You've got 2 options. £39.20, which is my £40 stake. That'll win you 20 odd quid, but the insurance premium's so low. It'll be a reasonable return, not as good as Hanover. That covers the draw if you're a bit squeamish. But if you're 100% behind Manchester City, they must win. They were hoping, of course, that there would be the Merseyside derby, because that could potentially threaten Liverpool's ability to get 3 points out of that, particularly with Everton coming into it with a 4-0 win against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So the usual rules: if you see some value But I must admit, this is dangerous at this time. 5 consecutive away defeats and that growing injury list. So it's not with any great confidence that I put it forward just yet. Probably a good match to watch, I would suspect. So I hope you're all okay and can hear me okay. So what's your opinion on Manchester City? Are you with them or are you not? So let me know in those comments if you fancy Manchester City today or if you've seen that injury list. We'll be pinning our hopes on Crystal Palace's inability to score that second goal. It is just astounding how they can score 2 goals away. And they scored 2 goals in multiple matches at the back end of the second half. Newcastle have equalised already against Brentford. Not both teams to score, by the way. 100% record. Millwall have scored first against Coventry, but that's a 2.5, the favourite match. We know Coventry have goals in them, and thanks to Stephen last week telling us Coventry have Fat Frank up front. So I wonder if he's going to instill any change. The goal's been disallowed, by the way. There, right in front of your eyes, 3 consecutive away defeats in the Premier League. The Liverpool one, fair enough at this stage. But Crystal Palace, where's that second goal? Where's that second goal? At home. Where's that second goal? Where's that second goal? Oh, there it is. Guess who they're playing? Newly promoted. Where's that second goal? You see the problem. Where's that second goal away? Oh, there it is. There it is. So they can light up away from home, but they can't do it at home. But this lot are conceding 2 goals, but they do tend to score. Not against champions elect, but against these lesser lights, one of whom, Crystal Palace. You see where they are in the league. Challenge table might give you an idea of expectation for Manchester City. They tend to perform very well against strugglers. Both teams scoring in 3 of the 4 matches as well. Both teams have scored in all bar 1. Manchester City match against 11th and lower without them losing. So you see the dilemma. They are crap away from home. Pre-Champions League. An ever-growing injury list. Big players missing. That, I suppose, is why you're getting Kevin De Bruyne coming straight into the team. He's there. Is he Pep's insurance about getting a result? Huge misses all over the place. This, of course, is the reason Manchester City are in such trouble. Such a key player. Such a key player. When he plays, they don't lose. I think that's the general record, isn't it, with Rodri? Knee injury, knee injury, knee injury, knee injury. Let's see when he was fit. Boom. Look at this. Leg injury. Loss, loss, loss. Knee injury. Loss, 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 loss. Draw, loss. You get the idea. Rodri is a massive miss. It's outstanding, isn't it? When he's not there, it's all the L's, I'm afraid. So are you following me in with Man City or not? Let me know. By Leverkusen, by Munich, 105 attacking pressure index. If you want a bit of fun, go to the halftime market or halftime score market, see if you can nick a couple of shekels out of that one. I might have a go Man City myself as well. I'll just have a look at Bayern Munich first. Can they make it 2-0 before half-time? You're going to have to be Speedy Gonzalez to get there. Well, probably missed it. That's ridiculous. That's a liquid. We've probably missed it. but we know it's 100 plus attacking pressure index. This lot don't. The market's still alive, costing you nothing. 40p to win 40 quid. I like the look of that.
This market has been suspended.
That's probably the end. But when you see 100 plus attacking pressure index, well, is it a goal? That says 44. That would be quite something. We can get that 2-0. That would be rather nice. So second half, I suppose Eintracht Frankfurt would be the one to look at. Top of the second in the league. Let's have a look. Yeah, with Bayer Leverkusen winning as well, that's putting pressure on Eintracht Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt's real problem will be Dortmund and Stuttgart trying to vie for those Champions League spots. I think Frankfurt's goal this season will be a top 4 finish. So they must get a result today when priced to do so. So that's something for the second half. What we can do, use half time to just see. That was an odds-on favourite. Jablonec against newly promoted. No surprise there. So let's just have a look at Eintracht Frankfurt and see whether there's a good second half scoring record. They're certainly motivated to continue remaining second. So let's have a quick look. Oh, delicious. This is what Christmas is all about. Hobnobs. That is why they're second in the league. You know where to look now for second half goals, don't you? Boom. Look at the conversion rate. Well, first time this season they've had a 0-0 at half time, Eintracht Frankfurt. But not so for Augsburg. They've only had the one, and that produced a goal second half. So I think we're in for a good shout. If you want to look in more in depth, don't forget home for the home side, away for the away side. This will open up the pattern for this year, and it could be a slightly concerning for Eintracht Frankfurt that 62% of their goals have been scored in the first half. So they've only really got a 40% chance of scoring second half. They don't tend to concede much, you'll note, although right at the beginning of the second half they conceded 3 goals. I would welcome an Augsburg lead myself. Look at Augsburg scoring 2 goals only away from home all season. Challenge table is your next port of call. Where are these two relative to each other? Well, we know already that Augsburg, Frankfurt second. Excellent record against 6th and lower. No complaints. Conceded 2 goals only once against Bochum, but I suggest that was consolation status for Bochum. There's 7 goals scored by Frankfurt already. Augsburg failing to score in 3 out of 5 matches, conceding 3+ goals in 4 out of 5 away matches. When you see that kind of conceding, you do see an overreaction defensively, which would probably be the reason behind this. But certainly, I think Frank will be well up for this second half. Bayern Munich, up to you if you fancied it, but I wouldn't play myself. I'm looking for the kind of a Man City trade, and it looks like Man City are warming up nicely. So I'll just pass this on to telegrammers. Looks like the wind is still going, and it's a southwesterly where I am. Good afternoon. Live stream on at the moment. I hope you're staying safe. One match, of course, you probably noticed it yourself. Crystal Palace have scored first against Manchester City. Now, do you trust a reliance on Crystal Palace not scoring that second goal? If you do, lay over 1.5 goals. The odds are very, very short. And if you want to see the bets placed, come to the live stream. I'm not going to be sending you screenshots during a live stream. I've had to go to the match odds back Man City half stake, lay Palace half stake as liability. We are flirting with disaster, of course, with Manchester City on a run of 5 consecutive away defeats. But I'm pinning my hopes on the Crystal Palace inability to score 2 goals at home. Manchester City's injury list, though, is very concerning. Of course, the main man, Rodri, which I've just shown members watching the stream, when he doesn't turn up, City lose. Quite astounding, his record. He's a big absentee, Foden. But what is in your favour? Kevin De Bruyne is getting a full 90 minutes. That could unlock this Crystal Palace backline. So we're hoping more than anything that Crystal Palace don't score 2 consecutive goals, which is an extreme rarity at home this season. So we will see whether we can trust Man City or not. I think it might be a turning point. It would have been even better had, as I say, the Merseyside derby been played today. So this is going to be fascinating. One shot off, 2 off from one corner. One of those matches you probably want to watch just to get a feel for which Manchester City turn up today. So I hope you're all okay. I'm sorry for my scoffing grub. Had my first mince pies yesterday as well. Delicious. And a wonderful round of golf yesterday. 4 pars and a birdie in 9 holes. Outstanding. You should have been there. So let's have a look just at our odds on list to start with, because this is my first port of call. Aston Villa yet to score against Southampton. Hearts have scored first against Salernitana. But we've not got any odds on. We've got lots of goals coming in. Portsmouth, QPR, Hearts, Modena equaliser against Salernitana. That might be one to focus on for Salernitana getting a winner. Salernitana have been scoring some late goals. We just break and have a look at that. That's the sound you want to hear. There's been a goal in an odds-on favourite match. So this is something to investigate now. One of these 2 sides is an odds-on favourite. I'm suggesting it'll be Wimbledon with the scoreline, but if it's Harrogate, we might have an angle. They were odds-on when I posted it, 1.91, and they're leading 0-2. So there's no surprise, nothing for me to look into, put it that way. Modena and Salernitana. I think from memory, newly relegated Salernitana have been putting in a good fist of it. Am I right or am I wrong? Let's have a look. And I'm just going to put my own Man City on. Good stuff. So let's move to Manchester City. Match odds is a real goer. Aston Villa have scored first against Southampton. No surprise at all. Looks like the Champions League sides are performing, aren't they? Famous last words. So let me just place the Man City. I might personally just wait at +1 with this bank I'm using. I just want to pick up enough money to buy me mince pies, and you know the cost of mince pies in this part of the world, horrendous. Man City +1, reasonable enough for me. Ooh, might I go match odds? I don't know. I'm just going to go there. I think match odds would be the better route, but it's all about whether the timing of any Manchester City goal, I think, for the match odds. I'm personally happy with that return. If we stay in with it, it's 22 quid. I've already made a decent enough profit today, I think. So I don't have to be too concerned about really going for the biggies. So I think it's a pretty decent so far. Let's just see. Betting profit and loss, yeah. So is it looking okay today so far? 75 quid. That's not too bad, is it? So that's why I've already made 75 quid. I personally don't want to be risking too much more trying to get a win from a Champions League side. So it's all about your personal circumstance. Match odds, though, you can see the benefit of the match odds with that small loss on the draw. That's why I'm trying to tempt you in to get the bigger profit. Excuse me, I've had this frog in my throat since I've arrived. So I might have to get myself a drink. £9.36. Now, bearing in mind insurance is so low, we're hoping for a draw because your maximum loss there, if it ends in a draw, will be 11 quid with a chance of winning 41. So I remain hopeful. If we do get a 1-1, don't forget that you can start to eat away at that 40 quid as well. Make sure that's back in your betting bank. There's been all sorts of surprises. You asked Poulsen the other day against Teplice. 94th minute equaliser against 11 players. The 10 men got a 94th minute equaliser. So do not take anything for granted. I hope that's an ample warning to you. Leki Gdansk is Slasroklo. I don't think I'll be getting involved in that. Genoa and Torino. My head is saying Genoa highly likely to do the scoring. My heart's saying where Torino go, 0-0 may follow. So while it's quiet, Soccer Stats, I think, will illustrate this far better for you. So let's take a look at this. Scoring 2+ goals in each of the last two, albeit second goal an own goal, second goal a penalty. So we might have some goal scoring troubles from Genoa as well. Okay. 0-0, 1-1, arguably 1-1 from open play. Penalty and an own goal to make it 2. So no wonder this is a snooze fest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Penalty scoring 4 of the last 5 matches. Torino. Brentford make it 2-1 against Newcastle. Over 2.5 goals in the bag. Both teams to score. What an excellent bit of research. Well, it's there in front of your eyes, let's be honest. If you bothered to look at Soccer Stats, you'll see 7 out of 7 over 2.5 goals at home. Now, I'm working on trying to get this research a little bit quieter for you by just looking at key stats. Now, let me know your feedback. If you'd like a list like this, just rather than all of the research like Arsenal and Arsenal welcome Fulham to X, Y, and Z stadium with blah, blah, blah. This takes you all the way down. Both teams have scored in the last 7. You'll have seen that with Brentford if I'd have done that with Brentford. These go straight into the recent stats. 8 of Arsenal's last 10 away goals have come in the first half. For me, this takes you to the meat and bones. So let me know if you want just key stats. Okay, I can put them in a separate posting for you. So rather than wading through the research, which is very detailed, because it does include goal scorers, corner count, red cards, yellow cards, etc. If you want the meat and bones, just let me know. Modena have scored against Salernitana to make it 2-1, so that could be of interest. I think I'll take Bayern Munich off the watch list. They have already scored. We've got a suspended market. Is that Manchester City? Yes, they're performing today, thankfully. It's very risky, isn't it, to wonder whether they'll turn up or not. But we're playing on that Crystal Palace not scoring that second goal. So I hope you got involved. Well done. And you're a little bit shy in chatting. So if somebody could have a chat, say hello. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've got any angles. Good stuff. So City equaliser up and running. Excellent stuff. That's what we're after. So the great thing about this is the insurance premium was so low. If you fancied greening up, you could do it straight away. Probably a little early to try to get rid of this Palace Palace liability, sorry. It would cost you £9.52. What you could do in this case now, if you really want to make sure that the injury ravaged Manchester City don't cock it up, you could still keep your loss on the draw. See how much it costs to get rid of that. Or not necessarily get rid of it, but to shave it a little. And it's taken off 14 quid. Now, bear in mind, it's very early in the match. There's 2/3 of the match to go. We've got an inkling that Champions League sides are performing today. German Bundesliga, they're performing. Even Leipzig, for goodness sake, they've scored. Bayern Munich has scored. Bayer Leverkusen have scored 2 and have had a goal disallowed. Manchester City have equalised. So it's looking okay. If you wanted to just give yourself peace of mind, that's an avenue. Don't forget there's many ways you can exit. It's 2-2. Brentford and Newcastle. It looks like it's a carbon copy of the 3-3 against Liverpool for Newcastle. So let's work our way through the odds-ons first, and then we can look at the stats. English League 1, English League 2. So this £12.80, so it's pretty much half just with that equaliser, which is okay. And it's pretty identical here as well, isn't it? But you've got the incentive of staying in. You've only got a small loss on the draw in the hope that Manchester City will score the next goal. Odds-ons, how are they getting on? Well, not strong odds-ons by any stretch, but nice equaliser. Who scored? Oh, it's the divine ponytail getting the goal. Good for him. Eintracht Frankfurt, I think, certainly on the watch list, aren't they? Second half. Did we make sure we had a look through? If not, let's just confirm. I think the incentive of aiming to remain top 2 with Leverkusen highly likely to take 3 points will be enough, I think, for Frankfurt. Yeah, I think we did have a look, didn't we? Yes, only the one 0-0 all season between these two clubs. More goals scored first half. That was my niggle, wasn't it? More goals scored first half, but Augsburg are very, very vulnerable. 15 goals conceded away from home. That's why you're getting an overreaction from Augsburg today to conceding 3 and 4 goals regularly. So I think second half we should get some action. Has it been a pattern for Frankfurt recently? 0-0s at half time? Not really. They do tend to have a breakthrough, as you can see. That does suggest, in all bar the first match of the season, does suggest that this lot are fed up with conceding heavily. And they've just put the brakes down and said we're going to defend for our lives. And we're going to hope that we can survive as long as possible and nick a 1-0, which would be excellent. But I think the writing is on the wall for Augsburg's second half. How do you play that? Well, it's just a simple method of the draw, I think, laying the draw at some point. I don't like this technique, though. I haven't come up with an alternative because for me, it's a full liability play. And if they don't score, you've got no real way of ensuring unless can you lay over 2.5 goals? That cost £8.80. And then lay the draw. So you'll only win a tenner. So you see the dilemma here. That is quite a decent return, I must say, if we can get that single goal. Both teams to score no will cover the 0-0, of course. So both teams to score no. Oh boy, that's going to cost you £100. 97. So that's utterly pointless. Correct score 0-0 is going to be exactly the same as laying 0.5 goals. So that would shave off £10 profit, but it would give you peace of mind. Put it that way. Because of course it covers the draw, doesn't it? Covers a 0-0 draw, of course. But don't forget, keep an eye on your goal times as the second halves begin. This is the standout, of course, Eintracht Frankfurt, yet to begin second half. Aston Villa, watch out for Southampton. They did get an equaliser against the run of play. So let's just have a walk through these matches. It's a Sophia derby. Don't like playing derbies. Hull against Blackburn, 2.55 the favourite, but I think when you've got 2.55 the favourite, you have to default to the in-play stats. And in this particular case, and Bayern Munich are cocking things up yet again. I did warn you about Heidenheim. They've done this in the past, making it 1-1 against Bayern. I'm not getting the dings coming, so I'll have to keep an eye on the screen. That is potential Champions League hiccup for Bayern Munich. Hull and Blackburn, well, how would you play this Hull in the hope that they get a goal? It's not a league I like, I must admit, or two teams I know much about. I'd rather play odds-on favourites, but if you wanted to play, of course, the half-time market is there for you. It's very illiquid as well. So you could lay Blackburn in the hope of getting an equaliser, and you could also do it at very, very low risk. You could start here at 1.14 to win a tenner, 1.09 to win our £23, of course, and 106. So it's very, very low liability, but we would capture any late goal from Hull based on the in-play stats. 5 shots on 3 off 4 corners, 22 dangerous attacks. Looks like they're bossing, or at least they've really reacted well to conceding the first goal. 22nd in the league as well means they're 22nd in the league for a reason. They're not to be trusted. Keep your liability ultra low. Play the half-time market. Plenty of time to get an equaliser, considering it's one-way traffic for Hull at the moment. Genoa and Torino, well, there's a shock, 0-0. But let's look outside of my watch list, because I've neglected the other leagues at the moment. Luton against the Swans, 19th in the league. Luton, very strange to see a newly relegated side struggle so much. Normally, they'd have the kind of Newcastle factor. Should be bossing this lower tier, particularly if they could keep the majority of their Premier League players as well, with that 38 match experience against far better sides. They could have brought that into the lower tier to go straight back up again. QPR and Norwich. Norwich favourites today. Marginal favourites. Another struggler in QPR. 23 in 23rd in the league. Not a strongly favoured market today. Just evens for Norwich. Not very good at all. Pompey, newly promoted, I believe, but 24th in the league. 3.6 the favourite. Keep an eye on Bristol City. Pompey might be vulnerable. Birmingham, one of our rare odds-on favourites. Well, just a touch of odds-on they were earlier on. Third in the league in a top-8 clash. I don't have a strong opinion. You can't really discount a top 10 side, can you? Wycombe and Reading, top of the league in English League One. Wycombe. So they'll get some respect. It's 1-1 currently. Exeter, well, when you see Exeter, you normally see goals, as you can see, but conceding heavily. 3-2, 0-2 recently. Only win for Exeter coming in the FA Cup. Be a surprise a 0-0, put it that way. So that might be something to look at second half. Old Jane is playing Huddersfield today. Don't have an opinion there. Cambridge against the Shrews. It's a relegation 6-pointer. 22nd against 24th. Racing Genk have equalised. Sorry, I ignored that completely. I lost track of that. Remember, they were odds-on favourite earlier on. And they've got an equaliser 41st minute. So sorry about that. But I hope you remembered that. They on your odds-on favourite list. So I should have followed that up. My apologies. Don't know why it's not up here, and I don't know why I'm not being alerted either. Maybe because I've muted this because I was telegramming earlier on. Hull look very solid. Olympiacos, I think, another Champions League side delivering today. So it's good to see. We're just waiting to see whether Manchester United can put the icing on the cake. Manchester City can put the icing on the cake. And suddenly, from out of nowhere, the sound has returned to Football 24. That was Clyde scoring against Peterhead. So let's just amble our way through these lower tiers, see if there's anything absolutely stand out here. Because these two are so poor, I think we might have a short odds lay of Cambridge United. What do you think? Don't know them too well. Short odds lay of Cambridge United. Here we go. Only because it's a relegation 6-pointer. Against the Shrews. Looks short enough for me. Keep our liability low because you don't know how poor Shrewsbury are. Bayern Munich make it 2-1 against Heidenheim. But it's one of those days, I think, where it's difficult to trust Bayern Munich as they're conceding to Heidenheim. So get that liability as low as possible and still have a decent payout. That will be helped markedly by 48s about the Shrews. And I think you know the reasoning, don't you? Why I'm doing this? English League One. I think I'll show you that. Premier League, Championship, English League One. We're Cambridge against the Shrews. Our first port of call will be the challenge table. And this should tell you why I'm targeting a team leading 2-0. Oh boy, oh boy. Wouldn't like to be their supporters. No defeat in 4 at home for Cambridge. They happen to be leading. Are they the ones leading? Let's have a look. Yeah, they're leading. So that's not very nice. Conceded in the last 13. No draw in 7. But it's such low odds. They are both at the bottom end of the table. Very rare for Cambridge United to get that second goal. Look at the fight for Shrewsbury against Crawley Town, 3-5. But very, very anomalous. One of only a rare bunch. They do turn up now and again, the Shrews. But you have to ask yourself when. But it's very, very low liability. It was 2.15 the favourite, not a very strong favourite. It's a relegation 6-pointer. The in-play stats are very, very similar indeed. And dangerous attacks even favour the Shrews. So I think we'll get some fun. Bochum against Werder. We've got Werder scoring. Don't forget Eintracht Frankfurt. I did favour Werder today against Bochum quite by some margin. It is a Bochum without a win all season. Do you trust Frankfurt today to get a goal to continue along their merry way? I don't think the second half has begun just yet. They do have home advantage. That's good odds. If you're going to lay the draw, let's bring up Frankfurt. Yeah, it's starting to light up the attacking pressure index for 6 minutes into the second half. It is an over 2.5 goal league. We've not had a draw in a recent Frankfurt match. Yeah, okay, that was expected. No surprise there. Bochum winless this season, but if this is 0-1 late on, you're going to be playing. That's probably the Frankfurt goal, I would suspect. I think they're looking okay. If we can lay that draw, but just the one shot on target. A big reaction from Augsburg to conceding 3 and 4 goals away from home. That's why they're set up to be hard to beat today. They don't want another Tonking. There's the Man City match. Okay, let's get Eintracht Frankfurt. Are you happy laying at these odds? 2.86. Up to you if you'd like to. Any other alternatives? Over 1.5 goals is a neutral play. Probably 1.25 pre-match. I see this time and time again. So I'll take you through the neutral avenue and I'll take you through the simple avenue. The neutral avenue, backing over 1.5 goals in an over 2.5 goals league. German Bundesliga, 62% over 2.5 goals. All we need is 1 goal scored here between now and about the 70th, 75th minute. If we get the 75th minute, we'll actually make a marginal profit or a break even. I'll be happy with that, to be honest, if that's the worst case scenario, best case scenario. Alternately, full liability lay of the draw. In a match like this, if it's you're getting a side like Augsburg who've had so many 3 or 4 goal hauls against them, they might just be able to pull off a 0-0. So, is this Mystic Meg or what? No. Is it Mystic Meg? Oh, look at that. Beautifully timed. And I normally say I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. I bought 5 because it's a Channel Islands lottery. It's a very small population in the Channel Islands. The first prize starts at 300k, which in this day and age, that would get me, I think, 3 packs of mince pies and a packet of Walker crisps. I'll still have some change. Fantastic stuff. Great. Laying the draw like this. You can cash out now if you wanted to. This you'll make about 14 quid. How about 25? Let's take that. So a really nice play. I hope you followed me in there. And well done for you, those of you turning up today. I hope you're making green screens. This could get you a special kind of mince pie, this one. Let's hope we can cash out. I would recommend cashing out. I know it's not the biggest profit in the world, but it all adds up. And it's all relative to the amount risked as well. So that's a decent play. We've got the right team scoring first. Torino have scored against Genoa in the 89th minute. And that's been disallowed, I believe. So that's another case of 0-0-itis for Torino. Oh, boy. So well done, those of you playing. Those of you particularly going over 2.5 goals. I like neutral. I know we got done by Bournemouth midweek, but don't let that put you off. That was a VAR to make it 2-0. And that would have got us out with an £8 profit, which for me, break even. Delighted with that. So I hope you followed me and let me know if you did. Well done, Alan. All City at the moment, says Robert, and Stephen says that Manchester City keeper has been dropped. Indeed, he's on the bench. Well done, Alan. I hope you got involved. Sounds like you did. Congratulations. Had a really good session yesterday. Really good session today. I'm loving being on British time because in Thailand this is extremely difficult for me. Starting work at 9:30 in the evening. It's something I'm going to have to look into because my goal next year will be more of a mental goal, peace of mind, more than anything. So I'm going to have to make some changes in my life to give me that peace of mind. And working in Thailand to these time zones, particularly when only 10 people turn up, it's affecting my marriage. It's affecting everything. So I'm going to have to a big rethink. As you know, those of you following crypto, it's gone absolutely bonkers. It's not by any means a retirement amount for me, but it's just given me a nice nest egg, just to give me some breathing space. So I'm going to have to think about doing these live streams in Thailand. I would love to live in Guernsey or in the UK, but as you know, the prices are extremely poor, particularly for those of us who like to follow the entrepreneurial path rather than working for the man. But good stuff. Oh, I'm here until the 9th of January, so another month. And let's see if we can get in some more evening sessions and everything else. Let's make sure we fill our boots while I'm on English time because I'm enjoying it. It's nice and relaxing. I don't have to stay up till silly hours and I can service you and I can make you some profits. So it's all good stuff. As you can see, Frankfurt have really started lighting it up, but we've got the important goal. That's what we want. That if you're using your live standings, which you shouldn't really be doing until the end of the season, you'll see the importance of that win. We'll keep Frankfurt second, keep them within, or keep that 3-point gap between Bayer Leverkusen as well. So it's all hotting up nicely in the Champions League. Dortmund are going to have to really go for it at some point. Stuttgart got the win yesterday from behind, but they've been affected, I think, Champions League-wise as well. Don't tend to be, though. That's why that was a big miss for me yesterday. That should have been our biggest profit maker yesterday, Stuttgart. But as I say, if you got on, great. I didn't get there quickly enough. Genoa, Torino, another snore fest. I think those of you with Torino season tickets, you might want a refund or bring a sleeping bag and a pillow because it's woeful stuff at Torino at the moment. Leipzig could be very vulnerable today. You can already see Holstein Kiel, 3 shots on 5 off 4 corners. Leipzig defence is all over the shop. It really is. And wow, we got out just in time. Augsburg have equalised. Augsburg have equalised. That's the beauty of cashing out. Okay. You're just after the odds move. Down, lay there, back there. Nice and simple. We have the possibility now of another attack on that draw if you think Augsburg are going to wilt, as they have done, as you've seen, 3 or 4 goals away from home. But that was my main angle, was to lay the draw for Frankfurt. Now this has got them in a spot of bother because Leverkusen highly likely not to be caught. Now the gap is only 1 point. More importantly, Dortmund are a little nearer. Dortmund win today. They're on 23. They're within touching distance. So it's vitally important, I think, that Frankfurt get the win today when they're expected to win as well. But, it's VAR, so might be okay. But you can see yet again, I hope, in the German Bundesliga. No, let's go to leagues. you can see, I hope, the wonderful stats. 62% over 2.5 goals. Look, even Barcelona are scoring today. Leipzig are scoring 2. The curse of the Champions League is not apparent today, so far. It's very weird, isn't it? How come these sides are suddenly performing as we expect them to, but they still have Champions League upcoming? But in previous weeks, when they've had Champions League upcoming, they haven't turned up. So you've got 62% overs, 82% over 1.5 goals. So generally speaking, Bundesliga,
Holstein Kiel RB Leipzig is 0-2.
it's excellent for overs, isn't it? And you can see that now. Well, it looks like it remains 1-1. Frankfurt, you could be looking at them aiming for a winner late on. Certainly Augsburg concede heavily. Did we have a look at Augsburg's concession rate late on? Are they vulnerable at the very, very end of matches? Let's have a quick look. Frankfurt and Augsburg. Moving on down. And the wind is hotting up. So goal times. You must be using this website at this stage of the season. We've got all this information to work off. 6 goals conceded by Augsburg in the last half hour of matches. We are entering the 64th minute now. They do look very vulnerable. They do score away. They've only scored 3 goals in total away. And scoring second half, 5 goals scored by Frankfurt in the last half hour. Note they concede 45th to 60th that they're just done now. So we remain hopeful that that draw is gettable. If you want some value, that second goal was a penalty, don't forget. And this lot started. Just warm up ever so slightly. If you want to throw away 101 lay, don't forget the wheels have fallen off this lot in the last 2 matches. Holstein Kiel don't seem to be able to land a blow, though, do they? If you're losing heavily to a newly promoted side, then you're in a spot of bother, aren't you? So in that regard, they might not be the team to score 4 or 5 against Leipzig today. This is no problem, Werder Bremen, but Bochum are giving a good account. They haven't had a win this season, Bochum. I wouldn't trust them with stolen money, but we will see. Genk, well, we should have got the equaliser there, really, 1.42. And as you know, I've just got waylaid, distracted. Hull, we went in half-time because this is 2.55 the favourite, i.e. the market hasn't got a clue, so we default to what's happening in play. But ever mindful of 2.55 the favourite being suggestive of an unreadable match, keep your liability low. That's what we did, half-time market. QPR and Norwich. Oh, Delia, not happy at all. Norwich favourites today, in fact. Let's just have a look at QPR's goals. Were they from open play? QPR. No, they're not in my odds on favourite list, that's why. So we have to go to live. QPR. Goals, were they from open play? Were Norwich unlucky? Was one of them an own goal? Was one of them a pen? Looks like Dunn and Colley, both from open play. So, okay. Head-to-heads. Last one in 2024 was a 2-2, which is very interesting. Norwich unbeaten in the last 5 head-to-heads. Could be more. 6, 7, 8, 9 head-to-heads. Norwich are unbeaten. In the standings, QPR are likely in the wrong end of the table. 20th. So vitally important, these 3 points today, psychologically, for QPR. Keeps them above the relegation zone. You take 3 away from 18 and they're bang smack in the middle of the bottom three. Indeed, they're probably nearer bottom, aren't they, taking those 3 points away. Vital that they hold on. Norwich today, a win, taking us to 28, within touching distance of a top six place. And it would be important, I think, for these teams as 2025 approaches to start edging nearer to the promised land, the top six. There might be some value to be had here. QPR and Norwich. In play stats, well, Norwich haven't yet turned up, but half-time team talk might see things change. Let's just get that match ready. QPR and Norwich. Again, it could be a speculative play. Keep your liability as low as possible, don't forget. And we can do that at 20s, but I would prefer that to be a little bit shorter. But we can't have everything. That's a goal in an odds-on favourite match. Let's look on with interest to see who that is. So keep our liability as low as possible here. And we could just back with 3 or 4 quid here. Got to be ever mindful. That didn't get matched. So let's try again. So keep your liability as low as possible. There, that's okay. £8.74. You can certainly expect Norwich to be going for it. We haven't really had a look at the research, but let's just have a look at our odds-ons because we've heard that sound, haven't we? But that said, it's not in my odds-on list, so it might have been goals from other matches. But before we look at the Norwich form, let's just have a stroll through our odds-on favourites. Monaco kicking off, one of 2 coaches your sides at home today. Don't forget Monaco are involved in the Champions League. Could be vulnerable. We will soon find out. Le Havre, 6 o'clock. Not to worry. Not important just yet. In the Bundesliga, Leipzig could be layable. Frankfurt, draw could be vulnerable. Barcelona doing a good job, scoring first. Put paid to that really poor Las Palmas defeat with a solid win against Mallorca. Should have laid the draw in that match, but didn't get to it quickly enough. Because Barcelona revenge mission against an island side. Well, better to know mugs. So it's good of Barcelona to be in front and to start scoring before half-time again, as we used to see. Genk and Kortrijk. Let's have a look. Pre-Champions League for Genk, or pre-European club competition. Very strong favourite. So that automatically gets some respect from me. And let's have a look. Only 3 defeats all season have come away from home for Genk.
This market has been suspended.
Kortrijk are looking all over the shop. Got some suspended markets. No defeat in 8 at home. That's 3-0 for Cambridge. So the battle of the relegation threatened sides not really come off. And Augsburg have made it 1-2 against Frankfurt. Desperate to end this woeful away run. Frankfurt, are they going to start waking up with 20 minutes to go? Again, if you laid the draw, neutral helps. Right, where were we? Genk have scored 2+ goals in each of the last 5 home matches. It's 1-1 currently. Is that draw vulnerable? Notably, lost 2-1 to Kortrijk last time these two met, but have tended towards 3 goals against bottom 6 sides. Notably away from home as well. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 4. Lots and lots of goals. Neutral player, over 3.5 goals second half, aiming for that single goal. Up to you. Kortrijk against the big boys, 4, 3, 3, 4 conceded. bit like Augsburg, are we going to see a more defensive core trick, trying not to bleed goals? Goal scoring. Well, where do you think you're going to be starting? Getting interested if this remains 1-1.
Cambridge UTD Shrewsbury is 3-0.
Look at that, 76th to 90th minute for Genk. Outstanding. 9 goals scored. So if you fancy it, let's return to this Genk core trick if it's still 1-1 in the 75th minute. But I'm expecting the possibility of 2 or 3 goals or more, but only the one shot on target. Eintracht Frankfurt and Augsburg. Surely Augsburg won't be ending their really poor away form against Frank. Let's see if I can find the in-play stats for these two. Second half is beginning. Cambridge, Crystal Palace and Manchester City. Do we have 2 goals from Crystal Palace today? Where's Frank? Where's Frank? Did I put him back here? Here he is. So how do we play this one? Well, you can do it traditional insurance route. They do concede very, very heavily. 2 shots on 12 off and 3 corners. This is your typical defensive reaction to conceding 3 or 4 plus goals away from home. They've actually had 3 wins in the last 4, Augsburg, so that's gone under the radar a little bit. But looking at that a little bit deeper, one of those wins was a friendly against Ingolstadt. One of them was a 1-0 win against Bochum, who hadn't had a win all season. It doesn't really grab my attention. I think Frankfurt might be vulnerable. Well, sorry, Augsburg might be vulnerable. And there we go. It's 2-2. I was just about to head off, man. Oh, just about to head off. Have a look at how we could attack that. There we go. That's the 2-2 equaliser. That would have been a really good play had I got there in time. But, Mystic Meg not working today. There's a QPR Norwich match. It's already a 40p. Don't spend it at once, please. Do consult your financial advisor about how to invest that 40p green screen. Holstein Kiel and Leipzig, those of you feeling mischievous, 4 shots on, 10 off 4 corners. This lot conceding 9 goals in the last 2 matches. If you're feeling mischievous, it doesn't cost you anything to find out. So let's have a look.
Eintracht Frankfurt Augsburg is 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. Excellent stuff. Leipzig surely must have some confidence issues defensively. 101. Fill your boots. Costing you tuppence. A side conceding 9 goals in the last 2 matches. A home side putting in a reasonable set of in-play stats.
Genk KV Kortrijk is 2-1.
There's the Genk goal. So I'm calling them well today, but I didn't take action. Is that the second half or is that still the end of the first half? So a great reaction from Genk, going a goal down. I really wish I'd played that one. Once you've got soccer stats now at this stage of the season, you can be a lot more confident, can't you? Because we've got a whole load of matches under our belt. We've got patterns emerging. The scoring of 3 goals regularly against 14th and lower. The failure to score that second goal against the top 13, 12, and the conceding a 3+. This is why football from now, November onwards, should be a lot more readable. And indeed, we should increase our strike rates because these are getting very readable now, aren't they? Very readable indeed. Frankfurt and Augsburg, given Augsburg's reputation for 3 or 4 conceded, that Desmond could be gettable late on. So I have, just for a bit of fun, laid Leipzig because of their woeful record recently. Highly unlikely they're going to let this one slip. You're talking about the manager losing his job. Bochum, well, can they get a draw? At least it's better than a loss for the winless Bochum. Frank, great reaction. No, I played the Man City, didn't I? I didn't play Frank.
This market has been suspended.
So second half is beginning. Man City match. Bayern Munich make it 3-1 against Heidenheim. So no Champions League curse for them. We've got a goal back.
This market has been suspended.
QPR and Norwich. Excellent stuff.
This
Let's
market has been suspended.
nice and early goal. So let's have a look. Nice early goal. Oh, it's been disallowed. Oh, that's disappointing. 49th minute Norwich goal. That would have really moved the market very well indeed. St. Pauli have scored. Good for them. Besiktas and Fenerbahce is a big derby in Turkey. It's highly unlikely to be very readable.
This market has been
The
suspended.
special one has opened up the scoring against Besiktas. Cambridge make it 4-0, so the battle of the Titans, that Fenerbahce goal has been disallowed. Battle of the Titans, I think we can say goodbye to those two. It was worth doing. If you're in the relegation zone, 3-0 QPR, come on. It was just 2-1 a minute ago. But that's, I suppose, we'll be keeping our liability as low as possible. £8. What a pity, eh? You're going from joy to heartache. I wonder if it showed that goal.
QPR Norwich is
No, it didn't
0.
show, did it? Or was it? No, it didn't show. From 2-1 to 3-0. That's probably another good advert for neutral playing, isn't it? Bayern Munich 3-2 Heidenheim. Why didn't they do that at 2-1? That would have been rather nice. So that's warming up nicely with 4 minutes to go. Are we going to have a cock-up late on? Those odds, QPR odds, by the way, very high for a side leading 3-0. So I might top up here, particularly given we did this with Hanover earlier on, topped up, didn't panic. The odds are so short, you can top up without it costing you much at all. So just boosting the profits by £1.50 liability at 106. Looking a lot better, isn't it? Just for the sake of £1.30. Now, this kind of price averaging, it's going to be particularly helpful if we get another goal from Norwich. It will help turn that red into the semblance of green. It's still early in the match. They've just had a goal disallowed, Norwich. So they can prove that they can score. All we need is for them to score the next goal. Don't forget, liabilities, nothing to worry about. We've managed to back Norwich at 80s, where just a second ago it would have been 2-1, and they would have been far, far shorter than that. So I think they've just been caught with their pants down by QPR there. So let's just have a look at the QPR match. Again, was that third goal from open play? A tad unlucky. Delia will not be happy. Let's have a look. So I didn't see any VAR here, but Coley looks like from open play. He's having an excellent game. 2 consecutive goals for Coley. Low liability. Well worth the punt. Goals are flowing, but not in matches of any huge interest. Just going to put the heater on for a little bit. It's getting a little nippy. So let's work through our watch list. We've already got the goal we required, Bochum and Werder Bremen. If you wanted to play, you'll be entering speculative territory now, looking for possibility of a Bochum equaliser. Frankfurt and Augsburg. Both sides will be keen on getting a win. Augsburg to put to bed a woeful away run. Frankfurt to get back their second place and a 3-point gap between them and Bayer Leverkusen at the top. We've got plenty of time left. Frankfurt have shown battling capabilities here today as well. So the neutral player might get something out of this. We've got a we've got a 3-2 in Brentford. We've got a 3-2 at Bayern Munich.
This market has been suspended.
Do we have a 3-2 at Frankfurt? Genk, well, that's job done. That one passed me by, I'm afraid. Crystal Palace make it 2-1. They've scored 2 goals against Manchester City. Now what do we do? Because that doesn't happen apart from when it involves Manchester City at the back end of 2024. So all sorts of palaver here. Let's have a look at that goal. Is it from open play? Is it a penalty? So fascinating. Is anyone watching this one? Big storm in Wales. Internet going down a lot. I hope things are okay with you, Ashley. We're surviving here in the Channel Islands, thankfully. We're just getting the remnants. We're not getting the full force. So we're very grateful about that. The Crystal Palace goal. Just want to see who scored it and how it was scored. Lacroix. He hits, the ball hits the back of the net, and Maxime Lacroix.
Crystal Palace Man City is 2-1.
Wow. Scoring 2 goals for the first time in a very long time. I'm happy to see Kevin De Bruyne getting 90 minutes. That's always a good sign. But this is a rare period, isn't it, where you can't trust Manchester City. We did get the equaliser. I don't know if I cashed out, did I? Or am I going to have to sit and suffer? I can get out if I wanted to. Or we could cover the insurance. But this could be another one to top up, unless you've had enough of trusting Manchester City at the moment. It will shave off a bit of profit, but I'll be far happier because it's going to be a stretch looking for 3 goals from Palace, surely. But this is my own personal perspective. So I'll get the 2-1 covered. But if you've gone match odds, you could have got out and taken that 11 quid, couldn't you? You could top up if you trust Man City. That's the problem. If Crystal Palace are scoring 2 goals against you, that is a really poor sign, isn't it? So what you could do, getting 5.8, you could top up a little bit and hope that there will be another goal from Manchester City. Normally I do just do it with £5, but it does make a difference. Look at the Manchester City profit increase. We're using it as a way to get that liability low if we can get that second goal for Manchester City. But it looks as if the neutral players are benefiting today, aren't they? 2-1. Crystal Palace over 2.5 goals. Going to lay Crystal Palace now at odds on. You take about a £5 off the draw and add a bit of profit on Man City. As you see, Man City's gone up to 64 quid. But what we really need to be seeing is a next goal for City. So let's wait and see. Cashing out at the 1-1
Bristol City is 2-0.
would have been the best move there. Hull carrying on from where they left off. Or are they? Just the 1 shot on target, 1 shot off and 1 corner. So not really set the world alight. We can get rid of QPR. But if Norwich turn up, great. It's still very early in the match. A 3-1 would be excellent. Liability is extremely low. Portsmouth, 24th in the league against 2.05 Bristol City, who haven't done anything yet. Very short odds for a side 24th in the league. Jablonek, we can get rid of that. And 3rd place, Birmingham, have conceded first. It should come up on the watch list here. Burton against Wrexham. I'll just have a look at this one. That's pre-match favourite. Well, the odds-on favourite has scored the first goal. So I'm not going to be following that one up Portsmouth and Bristol City, no strong opinion. Just looking, it's another woeful City performance, isn't it? Away from home, very vulnerable. That injury list is huge. But still, when you've got Erling Haaland up front and you've got Kevin De Bruyne helping you out, quite obviously, Champions League is a thought. Doku, Edison and Grealish in particular, probably the casualties for the Champions League. No substitutions yet from Pep Guardiola. Surprising that, as we're heading to the hour mark. Would expect some freshening up, but is he going to risk some of his Champions League players? We shall see. So that's going to be wait and see whether we can get that second goal for Manchester City. This part of their season, they really can't be trusted. And there's another side that can't be trusted, Salzburg. They've been absolutely appalling. Let's get rid of a few of these. Get rid of Genk now. That's one which has gone by the by. Jablanek as well. Millwall and Coventry. Millwall have picked up some late goals recently, unless I'm very much mistaken. 3-1-1s in the last 4. Let's just see whether Millwall have another 1-1 in them, because we have profited quite well from Millwall in recent times. But it is a 2.5 the favourite match. It's not one which will fill you with confidence. But they do have a good sequence of 1-1s. Do they keep their opponents quiet as well? Coventry can really ignite at times. See that 2-2-2. 3-3. At their very best, they can really set it alight, Coventry. But Millwall are looking very defensively sound, aren't they? This is very disciplined defensively from Millwall. 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 0-0, 1-1-1 goals conceded. Superb stuff. But they are playing a side scoring 2 goals for fun. So it's very contrasting. Who are you with? Challenge table, 11th against 17th. So Coventry not having the best of season. Where are they doing their multiple goal scoring? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them have come at home. And this looks a bit anomalous. So about northeast sides. What is it about northeast sides that Coventry find to their liking? Generally speaking, they don't have that second goal. Generally speaking, Millwall have scored in all bar one home match this season. So watch out for a possible 1-1. I would be looking as late as possible here. Ever mindful of the in-play stats, because Coventry are looking as if they might be interested in a 0-2. Don't forget, Frankfurt and Augsburg is coming to the end. And it is. You can make a good story, put it that way. You can make a very good story about both sides needing a win. So you could sacrifice this draw, 11 quid, as late as possible so you get more out of it. So do a nice bit of delaying. Do it now. You could turn that into 56 quid if you get a late goal, costing you absolutely nothing. Not bad, eh? That's the value of cashing out earlier on, because if you hadn't cashed out earlier on, you'll be sitting on a loss because it's 2-2. So now you've got the opportunity coming to the 90th plus minute in the match. The longer you wait, the more profit you'll make with 11 quid. So we're getting to 1.23. That's up to 58. So let's see how late I can go. Or you could sacrifice that 11 quid at 1.09 or 1.06. Frankfurt need to win, really, to go second, get that 3-point gap to Bayer Leverkusen. Augsburg, desperate need to get a positive result on the board. I suppose they'll take the draw today, and they'll take the fact that they haven't conceded 3 or 4 goals either.
Goal.
Stockport Exeter 1-0. Okay. So we're just waiting to see. That's up to 74 quid now. If we can get that late goal. Wow. I might just be tempted in with that. So it's a bet to nothing. You've already got the green. Going second be very important for Frankfurt today. Augsburg keen. Well, to compound that Bochum win and that draw, well, that was in the DBF Pokal, so it doesn't really matter. But well worth a punt. Plenty of time to go as well.
This market has been suspended.
And a lot of motivation. Let's have a look at our odds-on favourites. Manchester City. Well, we know all about Manchester City, don't we? Very difficult to trust, and I've been tempted in yet again by Manchester City.
This market has been suspended.
Much to my chagrin. Shouldn't really get tempted in by the Blues. Oh, having said that, there's a nice little bit of red here, look. Ah, that's very nice to see. Now, this will show you why doing that little bit of averaging up. I hope you can follow the averaging. Yes, if it doesn't come in, you're going to lose more. But if it does come in, you're going to win more. But that's up to 70 quid now. Now, if you're still squeamish, that's turned a loss into a profit, even with that Manchester City winning. Okay. So I've blown another 14.
Crystal Palace Man City is 2-2.
Trying to look after that amount here. So this has turned out to be pretty much a break even for me. Or even worse, really. 14, 16, and about 14. So it's about a 3 quid loss for me currently. But if I wait,
This market has been suspended.
I'll get out with a green. But good stuff. You've got an opportunity now, having averaged up. You can either now, well, I think it would be important for you to get rid of this 49, given the woeful performance of Manchester City
Goal.
throughout.
Crystal Palace Man City is 2-2.
Thank you very much for the confirmation, Dr. Stephen Hawking. Let's just see. We've got to just can't trust Manchester City, can you? So how much is getting rid of this 49 going to cost me?
Goal. Portsmouth Bristol City is 3-0.
I don't even need to get rid of the lot, but I just need to make sure that Manchester City won't cost me, as they have done in previous matches where I've trusted them. So if I leave the loss at about 7 or 8 quid, that's tolerable. You're still going to get 53 quid out if Manchester City pull off the win. Well worth it. Or, of course, you can take £13.70 and say to yourself, why on earth did I get involved with these clowns for yet another week? They've tempted me in again. The draw hasn't been matched at the moment, which is a pity. I don't want a big loss on the draw. I wanted to spread the losses there. So let's just see. 2.1. So 2.1 is long gone. So let's get back up. I just wanted to negate a little bit of that. But you can stay in if you want, of course. If you can take the loss, the initial loss we had on the draw,
This market has been suspended.
in the hope, there we go, that's a bit more like it. Just want to have an equal loss. I'm happy to take an £8 loss. Okay. If Man City pull off the win, which would be nice because you've still got that Merseyside derby to be played at some point. So if Manchester City can just narrow the gap, then things will be great. I'm not sure when Arsenal are playing. When are Arsenal playing? Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Yeah, against Fulham. Okay. So these are pretty much the title contenders, aren't they? So it's vital that Man City start bringing the points back. Frankfurt and Augsburg, not going to cost us much, but it's well worth playing that late draw. Looks as if it's the end of the match. Yeah, FT, full time. Great match to rely on Frankfurt to come from behind. I didn't get that 1-2 to 2-2, but I got the earlier one. Millwall do like 1-1 draws. I'm not going to be laying commentary just yet, particularly as they're lighting up the expected goals ratio, which I'm afraid I haven't got a clue how to exploit. XG, it's done absolutely nothing for me or my trading. It's a little bit of a fancy ratio. It does nothing for me, I'm afraid. Oh, Rod, not getting anywhere with Rod, but bring Emu on. I think 6 shots on, 6 off, 6 corners, pretty much frozen in time from the first half. 2 shots off target, 1 corner. This is a good lesson for you in not relying on first half stats coming into the second half. You do need to make sure that any momentum, particularly from 22nd in the league, is continued. Another lowly side, Portsmouth, at 3-0 up against Bristol City. Well done. That's all I can say there. Superb performance, but are the wheels going to fall off? Not too sure. Always goals in Exeter matches. Didn't get there quickly enough. We're just looking with hope for that Manchester City winner. Red Bull Salzburg, currently managed by Trigger from Only Fools and Horses. That's how bad they are at the moment. Pre-Champions League, they actually had a run of failing to score in 3 consecutive matches in the Bundesliga. That is very, very rare indeed. So only a fool trusts Red Bull Salzburg at the moment. Elsewhere, let's just catch up with Championship, League One, League Two, particularly through the odds-on favourites. Monaco, not Championship, but let's move our way down. Monaco pre-Champions League, no breakthrough yet. Likely we're going to see struggles from them. Barcelona, it's still within touching distance for Real Betis. Probably you get that underperformance today more than any other day for Barca, but they are ever mindful that another cock-up, see their title chances diminish. They must win when odds on. Well, fair dues for Salzburg. They've actually scored a goal. So going to be a national holiday in Austria with Salzburg scoring. Genk, we don't need to be alerted to that anymore. Good stuff. Jablanek, as expected, against a newly promoted side. I would have liked Dukla Prague to have scored first. English League One, how are the odds on favourites getting on? Well, 2 of them are leading and 1 of them is drawing. So we don't have any major problems just yet. Wickham and Reading, I don't know whether you can trust 1.75 for another goal. English League Two, the odds on favourites. Well, Chesterfield delivering. Doncaster and Cheltenham remains 2-2. And Wimbledon emphatic. It might be that Doncaster match in English League Two that we might want to latch onto. An odds-on favourite. Are they going to be looking for the win? So we'll put that one up. Any other odds-ons at the moment? Just Besiktas Fenerbahce, but that's a derby-style match is how I would describe that. Let's go through English Championship, English League One, and English League Two. Swansea 7 shots on target against 19th place Luton, having an awful season. Do you spy a late equaliser? I don't know much about these two and how they've performed this season, but we know a website that does. So let's work our way through and see whether there is any late angle. Luton, that's showing 1-0 and it's 1-1 apparently. So don't say we can't rely on in-play guru today. That will be disappointing. Well, just scored, for goodness sake. Just scored. So that one's gone. Just going to investigate it. Good shots on target, weren't there? 7. Good pressure. And it's been rewarded against a side 19th in the league. So league positions are going to become important at this stage of the season as well. You can possibly take on, like I did yesterday, took on Vitesse Arnhem, 20th in the league. QPR and Norwich, we know all about that. It was a weird one, wasn't it? It was 2-0, went to 2-1. That would have been lovely. 49th minute goal, but that turned out to be 3-0. So just that little aberration there. Birmingham are 3rd in the league. Are they going to take advantage of playing against 10 men? A flurry of odds on favourite goals come in, or are they? Let's have a quick look. No, not odds on goals. Okay. Wycombe and Reading. One of these is an odds on favourite at home, but only 2 shots on target. It's been a very quiet, flat match, hasn't it? I'm not taken yet by the champions or the league leaders in English League One with 10 minutes to go. Wycombe against Reading. We can have a quick look again, but it's going to eat into a little bit of time. Wycombe and Reading, English League One. Why are they top of the league? Do they get late wins? This must be English League Two, sorry. Late goal scored by either of these two? Where are they? Wycombe. Wycombe, English League One. I was there earlier. I couldn't see the match. Championship League One. Wycombe. There they are against Reading, right at the bottom there. Okay. Just want to see if there's any late goal, particularly because they're first in the league. So they're obviously got the winning mentality. So can we exploit that? Excellent form so far as well. Really solid stuff. But then Reading, sporadic good performances. Only 2 defeats since the 28th of September. Challenge table, 1st against 6. So a top 6 clash. We've got a bit of a question mark. Wycombe have not met 4th to 14th at home. So we don't have a gauge, really. Reading away can be a little bit more vulnerable with both teams scoring largely against the top 8 without them winning and conceding possibly 2+ goals at some stage. Goal times. Wow. You see that already, can't you? 8 goals scored in the last half hour of home matches for Wycombe. That's probably what's keeping them ticking along, top of the league. 45% of goals scored conceded away by Reading have come second half. But I like that late goal action. If it's betrayed in the in-play stats, if this starts lighting up, add the 2 together, and you've got the possibility of a goal. Mansfield and Huddersfield, no strong opinion here, I'm afraid. So let's just start hiding a few matches. Oh, we're going to go back from the Shrews. Come on, the Shrews. Only another 3 more. You can do it, boys. Come on. Burton Albion against Wrexham, 1.91 outsider. Already leading. Norwich have a goal back. Delia Smith will be delighted. We're not so delighted. We could have done with that. 2-0 to 2-1. So let's have a look at that. Norwich and QPR. It's a sign. If we can get that 3-2 at some point, things could be looking very interesting indeed. It's not really affected the market just yet, probably because it's a 78th-minute goal. But for me, 12 minutes is a long time, plus extra time, particularly for a side in the wrong end of the table like QPR are in. It's all academic, it's been disallowed. Accrington Stanley did continue their good goal-scoring ways. I thought they got a second earlier on. They're an excellent side at the moment, even though they're 20th in the league. So that might have something in it late on. They've been scoring 2 or 3 goals very regularly, Accrington Stanley. Gillingham and Salford, AFC Wimbledon thoroughly deserve this emphatic win. Emphatic stats. Swindon and Fleetwood, that looks match over, doesn't it? Any favourites here? Well, 2.2 outside of Fleetwood Town, but they're not really lighting things up. Aston Villa just remains 1-0. This is a typical pre-Champions League. Will take the win and run to the hills. But while it remains 1-0, it looks like Aston Villa are keeping Southampton very quiet indeed today. Unlike Brighton, who had all sorts of trouble from the pink Saints as they were. 1-0, very precarious. It's nowhere near market expectation for a 1.3 favourite. They were expecting another 3 goals from Aston Villa, but we do know they've got that curse. They, along with Man City and a few others, have really struggled. So we'll be looking. I don't know if they're going to be vulnerable late on. Brentford and Newcastle, another 3-3, maybe. We will see. Certainly, they brought in the both teams to score angle, which was the banker of the day, wasn't it? 7 home matches in a row. But the goal scored too early for me to exploit that, really. 8th minute. Not going to be playing the Saint-Etienne women today. Monaco dominating against Toulouse, but another Champions League side just huffing and puffing ever so slightly. Just waiting for Manchester City to do something as well. Real Betis have equalised against Barcelona. Oh no, not again. Barcelona fans are thinking. Another pre-Champions League cock-up. So it's beginning. The cock-up-itis is beginning.
This market has been suspended.
Aston Villa, arguably, with just a 1-0 lead, is not in keeping with form lines. I did say Betis are no mugs, but Barcelona must do something, really. Such a woeful performance against Las Palmas could cost them the title. So we're coming to the end now, 4:45. Fredrikstad and Mulder. Oh, this is the cup. It's not the Eliteserien. That ended last week, didn't it? Red card. Manchester City red card. Now that presents a problemo for yours truly. It's 7 minutes plus extra time. They could still get the win, but if this was Arsenal, I would be more confident in them holding on. They are well drilled when they're playing with only 10 men. It's such a well drilled side, the Arsenal, scoring 22 goals from corners. Quite outstanding. Sound like a bit of a fanboy, but really good manager, isn't he? Well, we'll keep an eye on that one, but this is another possible Champions League treat with kid gloves, please. SPL, normally an over 2.5 goal league. Well, they're delivering so far, 2-0. But Dundee, 5th in the league, haven't landed a blow, but not expected to today. Hearts, odds-on favourite and 2-0 up. Celtic, 2-0 up. No problem at all from them today. First goal came in the 6th minute, as you'd expect of a 1.18 shot. Don't look to be any particular woes there, but it's a good league, surprising league for goals. And what I would recommend, if you have the Guru, a check like this for your overs. It's a comprehensive check. It would go a little bit like this. Go up to the very top, goal average, 2.5, not very good. Dundee United, Kilmarnock, 40%, 50%, 40%, 60%. If you really wanted to quicken this up, you just look for all green, as you can see with 1.5 and over 0.5. Your next stopping point would be head-to-heads. Make sure they're recent. 2023, 2024, the last two head-to-heads have been over 2.5 goals. Next step, Dundee United's history. Not very good, is it? 3 unders in the last 4. But do look at the score lines. If they're 2 goals at least, for me, that's a green light. And Kilmarnock, only 2 over 2.5 goals in the last 5. So I don't like the goal average at the top. And it's reflected now, as you can see today, in that 1-0 only coming to the 87th minute. You're not expecting Kilmarnock to really score. They're not built for scoring at the moment. So don't forget, it's a surprisingly good league for over 2.5 goals. Let's do a catch up here. I'm just waiting to see. It's not moving, is it? But there's still enough interest in Manchester City +1. Will Crystal Palace score that 3rd goal, which is an extreme rarity? Coming to the end of the match then, Birmingham have taken advantage of the red card. Accrington might pull it off, but I think the clock is Bromley's friend here. Wycombe and Reading, odds on favourites, top of the league. Do score mostly 61st minute onwards, but it's been a very, very flat momentum. I like to see something like this, a rise at the end, particularly for the home side, which is in blue, but it's a big dip. 3-0 for Celtic. Millwall, don't forget the 1-1s.
Goal. Stockport Exeter is 2-0.
Let's just have a look at the Millwall match. They like 1-1s. They've got home advantage. Could be one to just target. Well, it's a little liquid, Coventry. So just wait for that to tighten up. And at this stage, we'll have to do our old 109s.
Goal. Stockport Exeter is 2-0.
1.09, 23 quid. 1.06, 32 quid. That will capture any Millwall equaliser. They are at home, that's a positive. They do like the 1-1s, that's a positive. But the negative, of course, the clock is not our friend or their friend. They've got a good record. They've had a few late goals as well, Millwall. I think the Sunderland one was a prime example, wasn't it, of a very late equaliser. But it's costing us nothing to find out, so I'm not too concerned. Hull, well, they've done everything first half, but they haven't turned up second half. So please make sure you check your second half stats. 1 shot on target second half. 1, 2, 3, 4 shots off target second half. 4 corners second half. If you're looking at this without looking more in depth, you'll be thinking, I'm all over this Hull side today. They've been brilliant, but they just haven't turned up second half. So I won't be looking for a late Hull equaliser. It is deserved. It's highly unlikely to come in. Pompey fans will be absolutely delighted. 24th in the league, taking points off a top 11 side so emphatically. Well done. Doncaster and Cheltenham. Well, Doncaster, odds-on favourite today. We're expected to do something. It's another Desmond Tutu. They have had the best of the momentum, indeed, those 2 goals there in blue. Do they have a late goal habit? Let's have a look at English League 2, Donny and Cheltenham. Premiership, Championship, League 1, League 2, Doncaster and Cheltenham. If there's any inkling of a potential late goal, then life could be good. for Doncaster. So you head all the way down here and have a look. 7 goals have been scored by Doncaster in the 61st to 70 to 90th minute. 7 of their 10 goals have been scored second half. Cheltenham have conceded a massive, for them, compared to 40% of their goals away have been conceded in the last 15 minutes. Any in-play stats from Doncaster suggesting some late action? Not really. It's just
Newcastle is 4-2.
good stuff from Brentford, avoiding the 3-3. Great result. Another really good over 2.5 goal match as well. Newcastle have conceded 7 goals in the last 2 matches. That is not what the manager wants, is it? Crystal Palace and Man City. Are Man City going to survive this? They still have the momentum. You can see in the brown. They still have that momentum. Crystal Palace have not really taken advantage of the extra man yet. 1.1 means there's a little bit of this match left to go. I have to turn the heater on yet again. Brass Monkeys. Well, get rid of Stockport. Get rid of Brentford. We don't need that. Real Betis and Barca. Well, Barcelona really do need to target the win, but this is, again, like Aston Villa. We had this a couple of weeks ago where these sides stopped off at 1 goal maximum. Suspended market. Let's have a look. Probably could be an end of the match suspended market. No. Nothing of importance for us. Probably an end of the match suspension. It's 3-2. Racing Genk and Kortrijk. Kortrijk a late goal, but Racing Genk already scoring 3. That was one which we missed out on, which was a real pity. Delivering well, Racing Genk coming from behind. Unlikely I'll be doing any late plays here. Not seeing any momentum lighting up late on for the attacking pressure. It's all a little flat as we're getting to the end of the English League 2 and English Premier League matches. A couple of Desmond 2-2s, although I think Manchester City will settle for that down to 10 men. And yet another 2 points gifted to Liverpool if City cannot turn this into a win. Once Rodri's back, though, you're going to see a real surge, I would suspect. Millwall are going for it late on, aren't they? But the clock is not their friend. That's the kind of thing you want to see late on. Any sign of the attacking pressure index starting, but the clock is not Millwall's friend. They are 1-1 Merchants. That's what you want to see. A little sign of late action. So getting out of this Man City unscathed, thankfully. They have cost us a few quid on that woeful run. Well done to Aston Villa so far. Southampton keeping them quiet, but there's just no attacking threat for the Saints, is there? No shots on target. And the match, I believe, is full time. So Aston Villa will be delighted with that tough fought 1-0 pre-Champions League result there. We're just waiting to see if anything will happen. Manchester City and indeed Doncaster, but highly unlikely. It looks like the Doncaster match should be over very soon. So I'll say goodbye to you in a sec. It's been a good session. We've not made any significant losses, so I'm delighted with that. Manchester City, thankfully, delivering. Eintracht Frankfurt getting me out of trouble. Fantastic to see them. And we're just waiting just for the finalisation of some of the score lines. Anything on this evening? Well, my parents will be watching Last of the Summer Wine and Hello Hello for the 320th time today. So I might be tempted to keep with the footy. Not many odds-on favourites coming up late on. Manchester United, new manager against Nottingham Forest. Respect to Nottingham Forest that Manchester United are only 1.7. I'm still not taken by this new manager just yet, conceding far too many goals. Monaco, I would expect second half from Monaco if the in-play stats are accurate. They are dominating this match completely. Let's see if we can find French League 1. French League 1. Here we go. 3 shots on 9 off. Nothing at all from Toulouse. So it's just it's probably going to be an Aston Villa result, this one, isn't it? Going to be. We'll take a 1-0 and we'll prepare ourselves for the upcoming Champions League matches. Manchester City survive, and so do I. Although it's a bit of a skinny profit. I've had to take the insurance out there, but I'll take it rather than the loss, and I will stay alive to fight on and make a few extra quid this evening. So I'm up to about 85, 90 quid now for the day, which I'm delighted with. A few more days like that, and it's for only small liabilities, so I'm very happy with that. Upcoming matches, I'll be leaving you soon. Real Betis, Barcelona. They've just not turned up, have they? Barca second half. Well, there we go. They've just scored. Egg on face.
Barcelona is 1-2.
It's been disallowed, I think. Been disallowed. Besiktas Fenerbahce is a derby star match. I wouldn't be interested in that. You're probably going to hear from me about Monaco Toulouse. Highly likely we're going to be looking at laying the draw late on at some point. But it's pre-Champions League. Monaco could under-deliver like Aston Villa have done today. Red Bull Salzburg, I wouldn't trust with stolen money at the moment. Las Glints are leading. Sturm Graz are leading. Hashtag Split. Well, odds on, good in-play stats. It's not rocket science, is it? Put it on the watch list. Then you can go and research Croatia here. If you don't see the league, you'll be able to search the league. Okay. So that looks a good one. Just turn the heating off again. Just a heating fan. Gives me a nice boost. Anything else of interest? Well, we've got a red card for Sturm Graz at half time. So these are ones I'm just going to be collecting to look on your behalf. Second half. And I might join my parents for a touch of Last of the Summer Wine. Or the 1% Club. I've missed that in Thailand. It's a very good program with the mighty Lee Mack. Brilliant performer. Makes me chuckle, old Lee Mack. Although not going out is a load of old pants. That's my opinion. Juventus about to kick off. Pre-European club competition. Juventus. Be careful. So it's going to be a quietish one, I think, this evening because of that Champions League concern. You've seen it already with some sides. Subtly, Aston Villa not scoring 3 goals again, only scoring 1. Barcelona puffing and puffing. Manchester City, red card, conceding 2, not winning. So those are the matches on the watch list. Thanks very much for coming along. Be the 13th next week. It's my mother's birthday next Saturday. So we might have a family do. Probably not. She's a very modest lady. But hopefully we'll have some family members coming round. So you'll excuse me if there's no live stream next Saturday. My parents are a little bit more important, particularly at this stage in their life where they're old and frail. So need to spend as much time with them as possible. Have a great day. Thanks very much for coming on. Hope you made a profit. I might see you a bit later on. It's probably going to be a quiet one this evening with it's just see that inkling of Champions League not quite delivering.